Welcome in the arena. My name's Allyson Klein. We're coming to you from OCP Summit in San Jose, California. And I am so excited because we are with Steen, a friend of mine and CEO of Metrum AI. Welcome to the program, Steen.
Thanks for having me, and congrats on all the success of TechArena. I see you guys everywhere now.
Yeah, that's
every event I go to.
I'm like probably steamrolling your LinkedIn right now, Steen. So Steen, you've been on the program before. We're just going to start with Metrum is like all over the place. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Metrum and what you're doing at OCP Summit?
Yeah, well, so Metrum has a couple of key products that we work on, and one of them is our Metrum Insights platform, which is a great no-code environment for evaluating the latest, greatest AI hardware, pipelines, and workloads, and evaluating for performance and accuracy. And just this week, we actually had a launch where we launched with NVIDIA, the Spark platform.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Usually we do server class infrastructure, but we've had the opportunity to work with NVIDIA on their GPU product lines, for pro applications, enterprise applications, and they're fantastic.
Yeah. And
so, we were really excited to announce our support for Spark this week.
That's really cool. I was thinking about you last night, and, we both come from a heritage of working at Intel, and I know that you spent a lot of time in IoT and edge AI. How has that shaped your approach at Metrum as you've grown a practice around AI across, the broadest of landscapes?
Yeah. Well, so where it really drove my approach is not just, working, with NVIDIA on Spark, because that kind of brings me back to the edge AI days, because there's so much power in a small form factor there. But really what we learned with like edge AI was it's all about solving industry-specific customer problems. And so when we roll out our agent platforms, which is another line of business for us, we really focus on industry-specific agents. And how do we build industry-specific agents that solve those domain-specific problems in the market? And, part of the reason I'm at OCP is we have an effort around infrastructure agents where, one of the biggest challenges right now is just keeping your infrastructure up and running, your data center infrastructure. If the world's making hundreds of billions of dollars in investments in infrastructure, the ROI is all driven by the ultimate utility of that. It's just like semiconductor manufacturing. We would just stress over yields. And, when I started at Intel 20 plus years ago, we were just furiously focused on, can we get the yields from 97% to 97.4%, because that's millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's money.
Same thing as the industry builds out GPU-centric data center. You need to make sure it has uptime. And it's hard to get employees to monitor data center infrastructure 24/7 and root cause issues as fast as AI and remediate those issues. And so we're able to do that with our infrastructure agent portfolio.
This is kind of the reason why I wanted to talk to you, other than the fact that it's always lovely to talk to you, is like you are seeing adoption curves take place in real time across industries. Where are you seeing the hot buttons across enterprise today in terms of the types of use cases or the types of verticals that are deploying?
Yeah, I mean, there's the common hot problem of just, security and privacy. And then with juxtaposed of everybody also wants to be state-of-the-art and affordable. And so those three things interposed is what's really the hot buttons that I'm seeing in the industry, because everybody knows there's an affordability opportunity if they go on-prem. Everybody knows that the safest form of privacy is to own their own infrastructure. But if you want the latest tools at the pace of the industry,
that's tough.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. And the labor force, that we had 20, 30 years ago to rack and stack servers, we all told them to go to the cloud, go to the cloud. And now, now it's very difficult to say, even for the neo cloud providers, as they upstream their work, they have a labor force challenge.
Yeah.
And so, ironically, that's can be solved with AI.
So we could, for sure. Now, I know that one of the things that's happening within those contexts is smaller model applications that can make some more standard approaches to hardware possible so that they're not having to go into the esoteric realm of some of the neoclouds and hyperscalers. How do you see that changing the game?
Yeah, well, it's a very kind of interesting environment with the small language models. They can be 100x plus more affordable to deploy. They can sit, on your PC class infrastructure or your phone. The challenge that you find is there is accuracy loss.
Well, sure.
And so what's an acceptable accuracy loss? And, for us, same thing. I look at, you go run DeepSeek 671B, and you can take a distilled llama version at 8B.
Yeah, sure.
And you can get a lot of that core DeepSeek model, but you can see a 5+ point accuracy loss across a weight of benchmarks.
Right.
And then do you want to deploy that to your customers?
Right.
And the answer for me is no, unless the customer has a very simple app, but we're focused on high fidelity enterprise applications. And so it's usually a no, but there are some kind of in-between approaches that you can take on the models.
Do you think that we're going to get to a point where we see those smaller models get higher quality, or is this just something that will always exist in terms of model size and accuracy?
I don't think there's any theoretical technology gap in enabling the accuracy of the smaller models. So I think we're going to continue to see fast-paced model acceleration, but there is going to be some trade-off, in performance. Whether that closes to zero over time, I really doubt it.
Okay.
In the time scale
that worth looking at.
Yeah, in a 5-year time scale.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be zero in 5 years.
Now, you have a program called Know Your AI platform.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do in our Metrum Insights is, you kind of have to know your AI before you deploy your AI. And we use this product internally as well, where, what we really want to do is we wanted to evaluate the model performance on real world workloads with as good a real world data sets as we can source. It could be a knowledge base, from a client, or otherwise, but you have to essentially evaluate the AI continuously. And so we deploy Know Your AI in our evaluation module, and then we also deploy it in our production modules, because you don't want to just test it once.
Right.
You have to continually monitor the AI for performance and accuracy loss over time. And so it's just a core tenet that's foundational.
I was talking to a friend of mine who was saying that, her company, who's a leader in terms of adoption of enterprise AI, trained their own LLM and then forgot this part. And she was telling me about the accuracy challenges 3 years on in terms of the LLM just not, maintaining the accuracy that was needed for enterprise applications. And I think that you're really hitting on something so critical.
Yeah, it's no matter how good of a job you do upfront, you got to continually eval accuracy.
Right,
and so
exactly.
We're not just looking at the models, we're actually looking at the accuracy of the agents on human level tasks as well that are domain specific.
Yeah.
So if we have a debug engineer, we score the engineer on each and every task that they do.
Yeah.
So we've got a ranking system, and their agent, who's a manager, by the way, their management agent evaluates their scoring, and then eventually a human's looped in for a total eval platform.
I'm glad you said agent, because that was my next question, agentic computing. And obviously, agentic opens up a wealth of different use cases in the enterprise. How do you see enterprises looking at agents? Do you think that there's a high trust at this point? Where are we in terms of agentic deployment?
Yeah, well, I think enterprises definitely see it as a massive productivity vector. And for many enterprises as well, it can impact top line revenue. So you can't not be evaluating agents right now. There's just too much detrimental, risk to your business, is, like Andy Grove famously said, you can be the subject of a strategic inflection point or the cause of one. So your business can get disrupted, or you can be the one driving the inflection. So you have to look at agents unequivocally, huge value prop. Now, as far as like trust, I think a lot of people have had, challenges with, prototype to production as we're talking about. And so I think the agentic platforms are still earning trust. And I mean, there's been a bunch of big failures too, kind of platforms that came out and or overpromised and under-delivered as well. So there's a lot of trust to be earned left on the table.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be something that we're going to be watching really closely. I had a conversation with one of the executives from Walmart when we were at AI Infra, and I know you were there too, about agents. And it was so interesting to see how advanced they were with the amount of agents that they've developed, but still very early stages of deployment, a lot of prototyping, not necessarily, broadly deployed across worker classes or functions. I think this is going to be a key topic of 2026. I want to shift for a second and say, you mentioned the NVIDIA partnership. You were doing so much great work with so many people across the industry. Talk a little bit about the partners that you've got and how you've engaged to deliver value across different types of semiconductors, different types of platforms, et cetera.
Yeah, well, we've been lucky to, for example, we were at Advancing AI Day for AMD. We've had the opportunity to work on, early access to the, Dell PowerEdge MI300X systems and now the 355 systems. And we built like 7 industry-specific agents to showcase on Instinct. And we have no challenge developing state-of-the-art AI agents on the Instinct product line. I know everybody's a little bit, NVIDIA has such a great product and a great footprint, but as far as a developer perspective, that's great to do and really fun. We've worked on a number of compelling initiatives. We'll be at, Supercompute showing some great stuff off with the team at Solidigm, and we're really, really excited about that.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, they, some of the stuff we're working on with them is really interesting because, you think solid state drives as a developer, you think, okay, how are we gonna, why solid state drives are we talking about it? Because we're so GPU memory constrained right now.
Right.
And you can do some really cool things like offload model weights to solid state drives. You can use DiskANN to get really optimal performance, for like RAG type, agentic RAG type workloads. So, there's a lot of cool stuff we've been doing with the team at Solidigm as well. And
everybody I'm talking to is saying storage architecture is so critical at this point. And, thinking about the trade-offs between memory and storage and, the price points of memory.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do and move to storage, you should be doing and moving to storage just for that reason. I'm glad that you guys are engaging there. I can't wait to see it at supercomputing. But I do want to go back to the Instinct thing because I was at that event and we wrote about it. You built some multi-model solutions for healthcare, for insurance. It was really incredible what you showed. Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, so the Instinct-based agents that we developed, so we have an insurance use case that we developed, and what's really cool about that use case is everybody thinks about speed and everybody's focused on tokens per second as the key output, but really you need to deliver business values for that particular use case. What we're trying to solve there is we're trying to solve the challenge of people getting paid for insurance claims as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So if you have most common, damage in home insurance claims is roof damage, right? And so that process, somebody's got to get up on the roof. Usually they do an audio recording, take photos.
Right.
Then they got to come back down, write a report on the photos, take their audio notes and transcribe them. And what's cool about Instinct is we can pack in a vision language model. We can pack in audio transcription models. Sure. We can pack in an LLM reasoning model for report generation. So we can use that full memory footprint. So it's not just like the speed of output of tokens, it's the speed of output of the report.
Oh, wow.
And so the report gets done faster, you know, the insurance company, you know, there's a lot of regulatory requirements to just get the paperwork done so people can get paid.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so like that type of application is really cool. We also worked on telecommunications infrastructure agents, where it's like, you know, everybody doesn't want drop calls, it doesn't want data drops. The carriers are starting to, you know, get more and more requirements for enterprise customers because all enterprises are running online, you know, as well. And so, you know, agents that, you know, take in the telemetry streams off the base stations and take remediation actions, you know, generate Jira tickets or ServiceNow tickets, whatever ticketing system
that's
a company uses. Yeah, very, very cool use case. Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of great stuff. I can go on and on stuff, but it's really like the memory footprint that the Instinct product line has allows you to kind of stuff in more models and you get a better total cost of ownership for those type of, you know, multi-model type applications. So it's a very cool product.
We live in interesting times. I think about you a lot because we have, you know, unique vantage points. Metrum, TechArena, both doing different things, but engaging with the entire industry at this incredible time of innovation. One of the things that I have, my last question, I guess, for you is where are you going next with Metrum, Steen, and what can we look forward to from you in 2026?
Wow, 2026 seems so far away right now.
I know, but it's not.
But we've got a number of upcoming releases on our multi-agent infrastructure platform. And, you know, we're just like tremendously excited about helping neoclouds, anybody setting up GPU-centric clusters, save themselves a ton of time on debug, on setting up the infrastructure, and ultimately like making sure that they can get high utilization and generate revenue, you know, and uptime off of those investments they're making. As the industry rolls out hundreds of billions of dollars into infrastructure, you want to make sure that that is available as soon as possible.
Oh yeah.
Normally we would say humanly possible, but in this case we'll say as soon as possible, period.
Yeah,
which we're gonna use, you know, AI and humans to make it happen.
Well, Steen, it's so fun to watch you soar and Metrum soar. Thank you so much for spending time with us on TechArena.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the great content you guys are putting out in the market because it's keeping me up to date.
That's awesome.